We continue with our discussion on relative valuation, and in this particular video we are going to try and evaluate the entire discussion around the banking sector. So we're going to look at sector specific ratios. Banking sector, we already know, uses the price to book ratio. And why does it use the price to book ratio? Is because the book value for the banking sector is not historical in nature. This is all financial assets, unlike some of the other sectors where the assets could possibly be in tangible assets like land, physical assets, etc., which would essentially be valued on historical cost. Here, in this particular case, the assets are financial, so there is no concept of historical value with that. So we use price to book as the preferred metric for banking valuation. Uh, so that's the broader idea in terms of how we look at that. Let's extend this conditioning in terms of our discussion on certain banks. So we're going to use three public sector banks, which are Government of India owned, and three private sector banks. And we also have the non-performing assets data for these banks. What is non-performing assets data? This is bad loans or loans which are not getting repaid. So these are loans which people have taken, but they're not repaying these loans, right? So in that context, non-performing assets is a problem for a bank. So we have some data available for a set of banks. We have Bank of Baroda, PNB, and SBI, which are the three public sector undertakings or Government of India owned banks. These three, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Yes Bank, are the private banks that we know of, right? So that's the broader NPA ratio that is there. In order to be able to calculate the relative valuation ratios for these banks, we are going to go to the website of BSE. We will need some data, so we'll go to an Excel file as well. So let's look at the Excel file. We have the NPA ratios available with us. We need to calculate price to book ratio, which can be calculated by market capitalization divided by book value. Book value, remember, is also similar to the net worth, which is share capital plus reserves and surplus. So we can go to the balance sheet and find the book value for each of these. Let's also look at market capitalization of each of these. So let's start on the BSE website. For the purpose of our understanding, let's go to BSE. Let's search ICICI Bank, for example. On this page, here you get the full market cap of the company. So that's 158215 as we speak. So let's put the number as 158215. And if you click on these results here, you find the annual report here. That's where you will find the annual report. So you can click on annual report tab and you'll get the annual reports. You can click on this and get the last year annual report, right? Next, let's look at Bank of Baroda. And the market cap for Bank of Baroda would be effectively 37,500 crore. So that's 37,500 crore. Let's take out the annual report for Bank of Baroda as well. So that's the annual report for Bank of Baroda. Let's open this. And so take one bank by one bank as we go along. Let's find this out for PNB, which is Punjab National Bank, and search the market cap for PNB. So the full market cap is 30,259 crores. So that's 30,259. Let's find this annual report for Punjab National Bank as well. So annual reports, 2016 annual report we find. For PNB, let's go back and find out what is the SBI, State Bank of India market capitalization. So that comes as around 2,16,879 crore, 216,879 crore. And then we find the annual report for SBI. So that's the annual report for SBI, right? Let's put in some numbers for these companies. So this is PNB. Let's try and identify where can we find the book value for PNB. So there we go. This is on page number 370 in their annual report. We find the consolidated balance sheet. The book value is in rupees crore. This should be 392 share capital plus reserves and surplus, which is 41411. So 392 plus 41411. For Punjab National Bank, it's 392 plus 41411, right? For Bank of Baroda, which is this one, let's try and find out where can we find the consolidated statements for Bank of Baroda. So that should come somewhere around page number, let's see, yeah, page number 188. This is in rupees thousands. So you have to convert this. So that's 9 lakh 462 crore and 42,041. 42,041 crore plus 462. So that's 462 plus 42041. That's the value for Bank of Baroda. Let's try and find the same for State Bank of India. State Bank of India again will probably give us this data somewhere around the page number 200 or so, most likely, because first the standalone statements come and then the consolidated statements come. So independent auditors report, that's the consolidated balance sheet. Capital is 776 crore and this is 179816 crore, right? So 179816 plus 776, that's the book value for SBI. Let's go to ICICI Bank. Do we have the annual report for? So we have the annual report for Yes Bank, and yes, here is ICICI Bank. I can go again in ICICI Bank and try and find out close to somewhere around page number 200 once again. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So consolidated balance sheet, share capital is 1163 crore. So that's 1163 crore. And reserves and surplus would be amounting to 92,940 crore. 92,940 crore. 1163 plus 92,940 is what we see. So 1163 plus 92,940 gives me the value here. Let's go to Yes Bank and let's try and find out what's the book value for Yes Bank. And go to the consolidated data, that's here. Capital is 420 crore 53 lakhs and here we have 13,341. So 420 plus 13,341 is what we get here. Yeah, so that's the data here. Let's also find this out for HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank Limited. What's the market cap for HDFC Bank? That's 3,68,907 crore. 368,907. Let's find out where the annual report is. And you click on the annual report. And by the time this opens up, let's try and find out what is the market cap of Yes Bank. So we find the market capitalization of Yes Bank is 62,783 crore. So 62,783 crore. And let's go to the HDFC Bank annual report. We're probably going to look at page number 200 in this as well, somewhere around that. Let's see. So no, that doesn't have it. Slightly before that, schedules to the consolidated statements. And that is the consolidated statement. So capital and reserves and surplus. Share capital is 505 crore. Reserves and surplus is 73,798. So that's 73,798 plus 505 crore. That gives me the value. Can I calculate the price to book value now? So I take the market cap, divide by the price to book by the book value or net worth, and we get these values, right? Now note what is happening and try and look at the correlation that you see here. Values which are more than 1. Which are the values more than 1? These 4 are the values more than 1. Typically, companies where NPA ratio is high will see price to book ratios of less than 1. Now remember our earlier discussion, price to book ratio of less than 1 could mean that that the company might actually lose money in the next few years. There could be a loss that could be happening, and that's possibly what's going to happen because of these non-performing assets, because these loans are going to go bad. And you see there is a clear relationship in that. Then you find that price to book is low for ICICI Bank as well, 1.68, because NPA is higher. As the NPA keeps going down, price to book keeps going up. So companies which have low NPAs, which are HDFC Bank and Yes Bank, companies which have low NPAs, which are these two, get really high values on their price to book value. So the market gives them this extra value, every rupee of book value, because the market believes that these are banks which are doing really well and will continue to do well in the future, right? Having said that, uh, you would have a private sector bank like ICICI Bank, which has a bigger NPA ratio, and that gets penalized on its price to book. So it is important when you take, let's say, an average price to book, that you don't take the average of all these. Your average has to be probably an average of all the PSU banks. So that's the average of the first three. And then the average of the private sector banks, which is this. Even within this, ICICI Bank's numbers are extremely skewed because of the high NPA ratios. So you can't directly use this number as such, right? You can look at this for other banks as well. As a quick exercise, you can try and find out what's the scene with IndusInd Bank, what's the scene with Bank of India, what's the scene with Allahabad Bank, and probably, let's say, another private sector bank that you can get your hands on, which could be, let's say, a Federal Bank or Kotak Mahindra Bank. You could try and do that for these four companies as well in terms of your data. This is the data which is available that we have seen in terms of price to book. So we do find that price to book ratio depends heavily on the NPA ratio. It could depend on a variety of other factors as well, which is what kind of size the company has, what kind of scale the company has, what kind of reach the company has, what kind of asset base the company has, and so on and so forth. But primarily, there is a straight linkage between the NPA ratio and the price to book ratio, right? That's an example of how you look at price to book ratio with respect to, let's say, the banking sector. And it's widely used in the banking sector. Try and do this exercise for some of these companies, see some of these banks, and try and find the data for these banks and correlate your results with that. Thank you.